joining me now via Skype to discuss how Nigerians can adjust to new realities in light of the COVID-19 pandemic is Alfred Kemepato. He is the Secretary General, Ijaw Youth Council, and the Director General of Bayelsa Forward Movement. Alfred, it's good to have you join me right now. When it comes to the realities on ground, COVID-19 has come to stay, like they say. As much as we look forward to moving ahead of it and getting life to normal, a lot of people said life will never remain the same again as it is. Talk to us basically from where you are. How are people adjusting to the realities of COVID-19?
Definitely, COVID-19 has changed the world. Niger Delta is not different from that, partaking from that change. It has changed us security-wise, economic-wise, but starting from the health point of view, the COVID-19 has also recalled and called the country to begin to look for homegrown solutions to issues and not this cut and paste approach that we have always adopted to issues. For example, I can practically say that COVID-19 is a disease ravaging the world and there is no cure yet for COVID-19. So sometimes the temptation for some of us and the governments in this part of the world is to also continue to depend on the West for whatever they dictate to us. But this is the time for us to also begin to see how we can begin to prefer solutions and go back to our traditional practices and see how we can bring up solutions with respect to health and otherwise into the country and see how best we can come up with solutions and not just wait for Western dictates. Furthermore, it has also taught us the lessons of looking deeper into our economy. Look at the coming of COVID-19, dropped the price of oil and the currency of our country. It's just almost like nothing now. But you begin to ask the basic questions like, what has really happened in the midst of all these things? It just tells you that we are not self-sufficient. So over here in Niger Delta and other parts of the country, people now need to understand that at the end of the day, it's about you, your country, and yourself alone. So we now begin to, go into activities that self-sustain us, such as agriculture, such as developing our own other related industries that sustains us as a people. Because as humans, at the end of the day, like the theories of the economy say, it's about food, shelter, clothing, and maybe in recent times, this kind of communication. So COVID-19 would have taught us that we need to begin to work on these components to be self-sufficient and see how we can be less dependent on the factors outside so that whatever happens around the world, it does not affect us in the way it has affected us.
All right, as some people are talking about information overload or information fatigue, for instance, too much information about COVID-19, certainly there can't be too much of it. But in the midst of that, people getting used to the regular issues of washing of hands and the social distancing, use of face masks and all of that, there are still some people now saying they still don't believe that COVID-19 exists. How much more enlightenment do we need to carry out, and what dimension should this take so that people can really be on board with understanding that this is something we all have to do collectively?
Let me tell you something. It's part of the cut and paste story I'm telling you about. If you watch the videos concerning COVID-19, you begin to ask yourself the questions: how much washing of hand, how much social distances, how much of all these things can really prevent COVID-19? Yes, you just said that there is too much of information, but amidst the too much of information, there is also too much of confusion. COVID-19, yes, COVID-19 exists. There is no doubt about it. But over here in Nigeria, I think COVID-19 is over-exaggerated and COVID-19 is becoming a business industry just for making money. So, you see, I say this because upon the washing of hands, the locking downs, the different things, what is happening to the numbers? The numbers are increasing from the hundreds to the thousands and it's going up by the day. So it just tells you that something is still not right. But what I need to say with respect to this, that we need to begin to avoid this cut and paste. A Western ideology has just come. wash your hand, do this, do that. Yes, normally you have to wash your hand and maintain hygiene without defiling medicine. But we need to go a bit beyond that. We need to begin to ask ourselves questions that what is it? Because at a particular moment, the whole world is confused. You don't know what's the COVID. You don't know where the COVID is coming from. So let's begin to ask ourselves.
And because of that confusion, Alfred, isn't that the reason why we should all listen to what health experts are saying? Because everyone is actually confused. You don't know where to go and you can get it. You don't know what to touch and you can get it. That is why there is a guide, the general guide and general protocol that we should do certain things to reduce the incidences or likelihood of getting contacted, isn't it?
How much reduction? You see, I want to be practical about it. Look, if you watch the videos about COVID-19 and how it goes, tell me the truth. How much reduction can you make? The only thing that is fighting COVID-19 is, if we need to go to the medical analysis, is the immune system of people, malaria drugs, and yes, it's good to wash hands. I don't want to defile the advice from the World Health Organization. I don't want to defile all yes, it's good to but the truth is, I dare to say, that is no way the solution, because COVID-19 will still somehow get to you. Okay, how much washing of hands can you do to prevent you holding the hand of your car when you park it in your car park and you don't know how many people goes around your car park, and many other things, the eateries, the banks, and everything. So, and how much washing of hands can you do to prevent yourself from interacting with the other member of your family who may not have been as careful as you? So we are just doing this, anything they tell us from the West, we are doing. See, the truth is, COVID-19, they say, is a disease. It has come with fever, it has come with cough, it has come with this and that. Every challenge is an opportunity for others to make success. Let us begin to ask ourselves questions as we used to. Don't forget that we had our own traditional practices. I'm not telling you about traditional practices that are not verified. We have verifiable traditional practices that we can return to begin to look for homegrown solutions. They are allocating, the CBN and other agencies are allocating monies to our scientists and others to look for the cure for COVID-19. That's laughable. That doesn't make sense. When we had never in our past deployed even enough budget for our engineers to look for light. You had to just have 24 hours light. You are deploying monies to our scientists to look for cure to COVID-19. How? Which scientists? Which facility? What we should do now is deploy our resources. When I say resources, I'm not talking about money alone, money, the political will and everything, to homegrown solutions, even if it means traditional institutions. Let me tell you something. Some time ago, a friend of mine had toothache. We went to the dental clinic as we could afford it. We did everything, it didn't work. But when we returned just to the village and they squeezed some kind of herbal leaf and just put in the teeth, that toothache ended till today. You may want to bring the doctors that will defile it. I'm not into the debate of what is potent or what. I'm not telling you what really happened. So what I need to do, what I'm saying is, why don't we deploy our resources to our traditional modes all over Africa of resolving issues like this? Let's not continue to do this Western cut and paste. Anything they say, we just duplicate or want to do and throw away our own growth solution.
All right.
COVID-19. Let us go back and say, how can we look for the solutions here to take care of? They have called it COVID-19. You can rediscover it here and come up with a different name. It may shock you that it may be a disease that may have existed somewhere in a land here in Nigeria that has always had an homegrown solution. So let's begin to look for it and not just deploy money, but listen to our homegrown people who can bring solutions to this matter, not Western thing. If not,
all right, Alfred,
we are bound to all these imperialistic tendencies and manipulations.
Okay, Alfred, thank you. Certainly, your opinions are shared by a lot of Nigerians who feel that homegrown solutions should be, and rightfully so. The Presidential Task Force had mentioned this sometime, as in that also being on the table, looking forward to those who have the wherewithal when it comes to the breakthroughs, or those who have one breakthrough or the other when it comes to finding solutions to this. So I guess that is also being looked at. Thank you so much. We have to leave you here now. Alfred Kemepado, thank you for talking to us on TVC.